Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
After listening to today's news, you'll know, first, Nvidia's new geofencing software for AI chips escalates the US-China tech war, forcing a global race for sovereign AI. We'll analyze why this move is a turning point for global chip control and how it could fragment the entire AI hardware market. Second, SK Hynix, Nvidia's key memory supplier, eyes a US stock listing to overcome the Korea discount and cement its market dominance. So we'll discuss why this listing matters for global investors and what it reveals about the critical supply chain bottleneck in AI hardware. Third, Google DeepMind's new automated AI lab in the UK launches a quest for new superconductors, part of a $40 billion US tech investment. This discussion will reveal how the lab connects to the UK's AI aircraft carrier strategy and what it means for the global tech race. Fourth, Eli Lilly's new drug achieves a record 28.7% weight loss, a breakthrough that intensifies the $100 billion pharma arms race. We'll break down the breakthrough triple G mechanism and what it signals for the risk-reward calculus in next-generation weight loss drugs. Fifth, UK schools are testing AI deepfake teachers for student feedback, sparking teacher strikes in a battle for the classroom's future. We'll analyse why this experiment is a turning point for sovereign edtech and how it highlights the massive disconnect between tech visionaries and parents. The story begins with a decision that caught everyone by surprise. A tech giant is now building tracking software for its own products, caught in a high-stakes battle between the United States and China. A while back, we talked about Washington's pivot from hard bans to a toll road for China-bound AI chips greenlighting sales while taking a 25% cut. Think of today's move as the compliance scaffolding for that pivot. Nvidia is rolling out a new optional service for its powerful AI chips. The purpose? To help customers prove where their GPUs are located. This move comes as Washington intensifies its efforts to block advanced American technology from ending up in China. But that optional label deserves a closer look. While Nvidia calls the software opt-in for customers like major cloud providers, it's not really a choice to avoid massive legal liability and prove they are complying with US export controls. They are practically forced to adopt it. This is how a choice can become a requirement overnight. We previously analysed how the US strategy is twofold: slow China down while profiting from the need. And this kind of telemetry is exactly the kind of paperwork and proof that turns strategy into practice. Nvidia says the software is just for monitoring chip health. In a direct statement, the company declared there is no kill switch. They insist it's only read-only telemetry and that they cannot remotely control or disable any systems. As we've discussed before, for many global buyers, the bigger worry isn't just performance, it's the political hanging sword risk of getting locked into American chips that could, in theory, be monitored or constrained. Nvidia's promise lands in that context. However, if you zoom out, you'll see that no kill switch promise is purely a software level guarantee. There's nothing at the hardware level that makes a kill switch impossible. This means a future software update, perhaps one compelled by a government agency, could potentially add remote disabling features. Nvidia's own chief security officer has stated that adding backdoors would be a gift to hackers and hostile actors. But the fact remains, this promise is entirely dependent on Nvidia's future policy, not a physical limitation of the chip itself. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn. Experts point out that the software collects data like a machine's IP address and network information, which, in their words, may enable location in practice. A screenshot from Nvidia's own blog even showed a dashboard displaying a machine's IP address and location. And remember, what has long made Nvidia untouchable isn't just raw performance, it's the CUDA software ecosystem and NVLink interconnect we talked about before. If CUDA is the moat around Nvidia's castle, this telemetry looks like a new watchtower about governance and geography, not just speed. Believe it or not, this sets up a whole new high-tech cat and mouse game. If Nvidia can geofence its chips, you can bet that state-level actors in China will try to circumvent it using sophisticated methods like VPNs and network manipulation. It's just like the old wars over digital rights management or DRM on DVDs and software. Companies would create a lock and hackers would find a key over and over again. History shows that these software-based walls can almost always be climbed by a determined adversary. This isn't happening in a vacuum. US lawmakers are pushing the Chip Security Act, which would mandate location verification in advanced AI chips. The pressure on Nvidia is immense, especially after the Justice Department began investigating alleged smuggling rings that moved over $160 million in Nvidia chips to China. We previously framed the policy shift as a toll road. A mandate like this would pour concrete, turning today's optional telemetry into tomorrow's legal requirement. Now, China is pushing back hard. Officials there have launched their own security probes into Nvidia's chips, warning of potential backdoors and vulnerabilities. They've even gone so far as to block some local tech companies from buying Nvidia's products. Continuing our last discussion, Beijing had already signaled it might block Nvidia imports to carve out space for domestic champions. And we noted Jensen Huang's bombshell that Huawei's AI chips are probably comparable to Nvidia's top-tier H200, though independent benchmarks still generally put Huawei behind on efficiency. The key point is that procurement decisions in China increasingly ride on politics as much as performance. This places Nvidia in an impossible position, facing legal pressure from Washington to track its technology, while simultaneously facing a potential lockout from the Chinese market for the very same reason. The ripple effect of this US-driven control is profound, accelerating a massive trend called sovereign AI. Nations like the EU, India, and Saudi Arabia are now pouring billions into developing their own domestic chip alternatives. We've said before that for many countries, being tied to American chips can feel like a liability with that hanging sword of political uncertainty. They'd rather have less powerful chips they control than powerful ones they don't. Chinese tech giants have already been pursuing a hybrid strategy, leaning on stockpiled Nvidia parts for the toughest training jobs while building out domestic silicon for everything else. And telemetry only sharpens the incentive to shift more workloads in-house. This could ultimately fragment the entire global market. The lines have been drawn, and the world's most valuable chip maker is caught directly in the crossfire. We were just talking about the high-stakes battle over chip control. Now, let's shift our focus to a critical link in that very supply chain that's making a major move of its own. A company at the heart of the AI boom just saw its stock explode, surging nearly 230% this year alone. Now, it's making a move that could bring it directly to Wall Street. The company is South Korea's SK Hynix, a critical supplier for Nvidia. In a bombshell confirmation, SK Hynix announced it is officially weighing a US stock market listing. So, the thing is, this isn't likely to be a massive traditional IPO like we saw with ARM. Research suggests SK Hynix is pursuing what's known as an American Depository Receipt, or ADR program. This is a much more asset-light approach. It allows the company to list existing shares on a US exchange without creating new ones, which avoids diluting the value for current shareholders. It's a clever way to tap into the massive American investor base without the full cost and complexity of a new public offering. This would give American investors direct access to one of the most essential players in the AI hardware gold rush, a company that until now could only be traded in Seoul. So what's driving this? SK Hynix has cemented its lead in the high bandwidth memory chips that are the lifeblood of Nvidia's AI processors. And what's a key piece of their advantage? SK Hynix's lead isn't just a fluke, it's built on a major technological advantage. Their secret weapon is a proprietary manufacturing process called Advanced Mass Reflow Molded Underfill, or MRMUF. This sounds technical, but what it does is allow them to stack layers of memory chips more effectively, improving performance and, crucially, helping to manage the intense heat these chips generate. This innovation is what gives them a moat, a protective barrier against competitors trying to catch up in the race to build the best memory for AI. But this isn't just about cashing in on the hype. A major motivation for this move is tackling what's known as the Korea discount. You see, even for a global leader like SK Hynix, South Korean stocks have historically traded at a lower value than their global peers. This discount is often attributed to a few key factors. Investor concerns about the complex corporate governance of chaebols, which are large, family-run conglomerates, and the ever-present geopolitical risk associated with North Korea, AUS. Listing could help bypass some of these perceptions and attract investors who value the company purely on its incredible technology and market position. And SK Hynix is pouring fuel on the fire. The firm has already committed nearly $4 billion to build an advanced chip packaging plant in Indiana, a move that directly supports Washington's push to expand domestic chip production. But the story gets bigger. This isn't just a corporate battle, it's escalating into a national priority. Back in South Korea, the government is getting involved South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol recently met with executives from both SK Hynix and Samsung to strategize how to maintain the country's global lead in memory chips. The government is even considering a new $3.06 billion foundry to support its local champions. This puts SK Hynix in a fascinating and tricky position. The company is walking a geopolitical tightrope. We're seeing it act as a key partner in the US. CHIPS Act, helping America build a more resilient domestic supply chain, while at the same time, it's a national champion for South Korea, central to its own government strategy for semiconductor sovereignty. It's a delicate balancing act between the strategic interests of two powerful allies. The potential US listing is more than just a financial maneuver. It is a calculated play in a high-stakes global contest, positioning SK Hynix at the dead center of corporate competition and geopolitical strategy in the worldwide fight for AI supremacy. Now, get this. This intense focus on one company highlights a huge systemic risk for the entire AI industry. SK Hynix's dominance means the world's supply of the most advanced AI hardware is incredibly dependent on a single supplier. Some reports show that just one customer, believed to be Nvidia, accounts for over a quarter of SK Hynix's revenue. This creates a dangerous bottleneck. Any disruption at SK Hynix, whether from production issues or geopolitics, could send shockwaves through the entire AI ecosystem, stalling progress for everyone. It's a single point of success, but also a potential single point of failure. While the world grapples with bottlenecks in AI hardware, another front in the tech race is heating up, using AI itself to accelerate scientific discovery. Google DeepMind is building its first automated research lab, a place where AI and robotics will run their own experiments to discover new materials. And we're not just talking about a lab with a few more computers. This is what experts are calling the automated scientist paradigm. Essentially, unlike older labs that just run pre-programmed tests over and over, this facility uses AI to design experiments, analyze the results in real time, and then decide what to do next, all without a human stepping in. It learns and adapts 24/7. This is a massive leap forward, capable of accelerating discovery at a pace we've never seen before. The lab's first mission is a massive one: develop new superconductor materials. These are the building blocks for next generation medical imaging technology and advanced semiconductors, putting AI at the very heart of future scientific breakthroughs. If this AI lab discovers a viable room temperature superconductor, it would be one of the biggest breakthroughs in the history of physics. But it also raises a huge question: who owns that discovery? Current laws are built for human inventors. If an AI invents a material that could redefine global energy, computing, and even defense, a single US corporation could suddenly control a foundational piece of the future. The geopolitical fallout from that would be immense. But this isn't just about one lab. This is part of a major partnership with the UK government. Under the deal, British scientists will get priority access to some of the world's most advanced AI tools. It's a two-way street though. Priority access sounds great for UK scientists, and it is. They get to use cutting-edge tools to speed up their own research. But in return, Google DeepMind gets incredibly valuable feedback, data, and insights from some of the world's top researchers using its systems. This helps them improve their AI models even faster, embedding their technology right into the core of the UK's research ecosystem. The partnership could also lead to DeepMind working directly with the government on projects that sound like science fiction, including research into nuclear fusion. It also opens the door for deploying its advanced Gemini models across the UK's government and education systems. This all points to a much larger global power play. The UK has been racing to sign deals with major tech companies to build out its AI infrastructure, and the scale of this ambition is backed by a jaw-dropping number. Microsoft, Nvidia, Google, and OpenAI have already announced plans to funnel over $40 billion of investment into the country. When we place the UK's approach alongside what's happening in Europe, a clear national strategy emerges. Some experts are asking if the UK is essentially becoming a strategic AI aircraft carrier for the United States, tying its future to American tech giants. This is a very different path from what we see in Europe, where countries like France are pushing for sovereign AI to reduce their dependency on foreign technology. The UK is making a huge bet that deep partnership is the fastest way to the top. As DeepMind's co-founder Demis Hassabis stated, AI has the potential to drive a new era of scientific discovery. This isn't just about a company's innovation. It's a calculated national strategy backed by tens of billions of dollars to secure a dominant position in the future of artificial intelligence. From breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, we now turn to a stunning development in biotech, where a different kind of arms race is heating up. A new drug just delivered what could be the highest weight loss ever recorded in a late-stage trial, and the numbers are absolutely staggering. Eli Lilly's experimental drug, Retatrutide, helped patients lose an average of nearly 24% of their body weight. For those who stayed on the highest dose, that number jumped to a jaw-dropping 28.7%. To put that in perspective, that result surpasses Lilly's own blockbuster drug Zepbound, which tops out around 22.5% weight loss. For an average person in the trial, that 28.7% loss equated to over 71 pounds. What's particularly unusual, though, is that the company reported some patients lost so much weight they actually decided to drop out of the trial due to what was called perceived excessive weight loss. Actually, this isn't just about feeling too skinny. Research shows that such rapid and dramatic physical transformation can be psychologically jarring. It can disrupt a person's long-held body image, leading to anxiety, emotional instability, and even body dysmorphia. Healthcare systems are just now beginning to grapple with how to provide the mental health support needed to help patients navigate these massive changes. And it's not just about the weight. The same drug also delivered a massive reduction in knee arthritis pain by up to 62.6%, with more than 1 in 8 patients becoming completely pain-free. This wasn't an accident. It's a brilliant business strategy. By proving the drug doesn't just treat obesity, but also expensive related conditions, it makes a much stronger case to insurance companies for reimbursement. It positions the drug as a comprehensive solution that saves money on other treatments down the line. This is all part of Eli Lilly's high-stakes plan to maintain its majority share over its rival, Novo Nordisk, in a weight loss market that analysts estimate could be worth $100 billion by the 2030s. The results appear to have caught its rival off guard. This situation presents a fascinating duality in corporate strategy. Eli Lilly is winning with its powerful in-house research and development, creating a pipeline of next-generation drugs. Novo Nordisk, on the other hand, is now racing to catch up, recently agreeing to pay up to $2 billion for the rights to a similar but much earlier stage experimental drug. It signals a major shift in the industry, where buying innovation might become just as important as creating it. So what makes this new drug so powerful? While existing treatments target 1 or 2 hunger-regulating hormones, Retatrutide, nicknamed the Triple G drug, mimics 3. It's a mechanism that appears to have a more potent effect on appetite than anything seen before. At a biological level, the first 2 hormones, GLP-1 and GIP, are fantastic at curbing appetite. But the secret weapon here is the 3rd target, the glucagon receptor. Activating it actually increases the body's resting energy expenditure and enhances fat burning. So you're not just eating less, your body is actively burning more calories and fat, even at rest. However, that power comes with a price. Roughly 18% of patients on the highest dose stopped treatment due to side effects, with over 40% experiencing nausea. And it's not just nausea. The research is highlighting a new, unusual side effect called dysesthesia, which is an unpleasant, abnormal nerve sensation. This decision brings both incredible efficacy and comes with inherent risks. It raises a critical question about the risk-reward profile. At what point do the benefits become unjustifiable because the side effects are too severe for patients to tolerate? The results surpass Wall Street's expectations. With 7 more trials on this drug set to report by the end of 2026, Eli Lilly is signaling it has a new weapon to solidify its lead in the pharmaceutical race for weight loss supremacy. Speaking of high-stakes competition, a completely different battle is brewing in the UK, this time for the future of the classroom. Believe it or not, schools there are now testing AI deepfakes of actual teachers to give personalised feedback to students. And it's part of a bigger, more controversial experiment. One school in Lancashire hired a virtual math teacher who is teaching students from 300 miles away. The move was so divisive that teachers at the school went on strike over it. This is a peek into a potential future of teaching that some call the gig economy model for educators. The idea is that this could create a 2-tiered system. You might have a small number of high-paid superstar remote specialists who teach thousands of students alongside a larger group of in-person facilitators who are paid less. We've seen a similar pattern in telemedicine, where remote specialist doctors can serve a huge patient base, which has major implications for pay scales and job security across the entire profession. we're potentially looking at a fundamental restructuring of the teaching workforce. One of those teachers, Emily Cook, went on the record with a statement you need to hear. She asked, "Will your virtual teacher be there to dance with you at prom, hug your mum during results day, or high-five you in the corridor because they know you won the match last night?" The National Education Union is calling the situation unacceptable and vows it will never tolerate the imposition of a virtual teacher. But the school leaders pushing this technology are doubling down. One CEO, Shane Ireston, says his goal is to use AI to free up teachers for more important work, not replace them. His schools are trialling AI systems that mark exams and use deepfake avatars of teachers to deliver bespoke video feedback to every single student. But when we hear that AI can mark exams and find learning gaps, we have to ask a critical question: what is it actually times measuring? The risk is that we start optimizing education for what an AI can measure while accidentally pushing out the skills that are harder to grade, like creativity, critical thinking, and collaboration. It's a phenomenon some critics call the McDonaldization of education, where efficiency and standardization start to overshadow holistic learning. Beyond the psychological impact, there's another layer, a massive question about data. Using a deepfake avatar of a real teacher to give feedback introduces a psychological concept called the pedagogical uncanny valley. This is where an AI is so close to human that it's familiar, but just different enough in its expressions or tone to be deeply unsettling. Instead of building trust, it can create a sense of unease that actually undermines the educational goal. To create that bespoke feedback, the AI is collecting an incredible amount of granular data on each student's learning process. Who owns that data? Under regulations like FERPA in the US, schools must protect student privacy. But when a third-party AI company is involved, things get murky. This data could be used to train future AI models or even for school rankings. It creates a permanent data profile on a child that raises huge ethical and privacy concerns. His justification is a direct challenge to the tech world, saying, "We would much rather be leading the change than Silicon Valley doing it for us." That quote is a perfect example of a growing trend called sovereign AI or sovereign ed tech. Instead of just buying a polished product from a big tech giant, this school's leadership is trying to build or customize its own AI solutions in-house. The upside is more control, better data privacy, and a system tailored to their specific needs. The downside, it's incredibly expensive and requires a huge investment in talent and infrastructure, costs that can run into hundreds of thousands of dollars, making it a massive gamble. But what really brought this to a head was the reaction from parents. According to a national survey of over 5,000 parents, just 12% think AI should be used in the classroom at all. That's a jaw-dropping number, revealing a massive disconnect between the tech visionaries and the families they serve. This isn't just a debate about new tools. It's a high-stakes battle for the future of the classroom, pitting the promise of personalised, AI-driven learning against the core belief that a human teacher in the room is something technology can never replace.
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.